Welcome to Trust Drives Conversions and Differentiation. My name is Jeff Bartow, and I'm a trust strategist at Symantec. If you don't know who Symantec is, think Norton, like Norton Utilities, Norton Antivirus, Norton Internet Security. That's us. The circle check mark that I think it's the high 70s of percentage of internet users recognize as I'm safe here. This is a legitimate business. I can feel confident to transact. And that's really why we come to this event. We sponsor things in the e-commerce channel is because that's such a powerful thing to leverage in what you're doing online. So let's get underway. I want to take us to a place that to me is really important, and that is we're going straight into the heart of trust and confidence. Okay, stop thinking of us as a security vendor, and let's get into the higher level thing, which is about trust and confidence and what it means to a shopper, to an average ordinary consumer like us every day when we put down our business cards and our work phones and our badges and that kind of stuff. There is an organization called eConsultancy that did a survey. Now, it's a couple years old, but still very true. And they looked at all the possible reasons why someone pulls the ripcord worldwide, not just United States or UK where they're based, worldwide, why consumers pull the ripcord and say, I'm out of here, and they eject themselves from the funnel. Okay? And in their sense, the funnel is as broad as you can think. Not right when you get on the site, but well before it. Like, I became aware of this product or service or this thing that I'm interested in, then I searched for it, and then I came to the site. It's all in their definition of the funnel, all the way down to the moment of truth where they click the magic button. Okay, so they looked at all the reasons why consumers worldwide bail out. And whittled down to the top 10, obviously consumers can give more than one answer since these don't add up to 100 on the right. But of the top 10 shown here, 9 of them are very e-commerce-y. Okay, we see things like, I didn't expect the delivery cost, that's number 1. Then a bunch of combinations of, I couldn't find what I'm looking for, including the product, including the specs, including help, and a bunch of other things that are very, very e-commerce related. Okay, checkout problems, so on and so forth. At least 9 out of the top 10 are that way. Checkout number 3. So fully 50% of people who bail out, we didn't pay for this, they did this on their own, 50% of people bail out is because, in their words, they do not trust the website or they have security concerns. Okay? We're talking about the feeling on the left, not as much the implementation on the right. It's that feeling of trust, and there's really no surprise as to why consumers are feeling this. By the way, budding Star Wars junkie here, so there's going to be some references. I hope you enjoy that. Like the vulnerability du jour. Okay, we all remember Heartbleed and how everybody freaked out, and now vulnerabilities are branded. They have names that consumers can get and understand, which is the point. Vulnerabilities are now consumer friendly. Likewise, it seems like there's a breach du jour. There's somebody out there that got hacked, and it's in the news every day in every vertical, not just in an e-commerce context. And then Miss Happy Face here is another impact of this environment of mistrust that's out there on a very public and scary internet. She was the CEO of Sony Pictures. And her company got attacked not by cyber criminals, but by a nation. Like, consumers are feeling this, and they're thinking, is this worth it? That 50%, top 3? That 50% is not surprising. Consumers are freaked out about the sense of confidence and trust online and whether they're safe here and they should transact. Okay, we're going to add some dimension to that. The Gallup organization, you all know the Gallup poll, they also did a study. And of all the things that consumers fear, guess what topped the list? And let's start at the bottom of the things that people freak out about. There on the bottom is being assaulted and killed by a coworker. Okay, that's yikes. But there's way more people who are freaked out about having their information or their identity, something go wrong because of a hack, because of lost information, what have you, than some other things, like your kid being beaten up in school, like your house being robbed. People are more freaked out about that. Stuff online, getting your information or something going wrong of loss of identity. Okay, this is real material stuff, founding that 50%. There's a big question of what we can do about it. Okay, so I'm going to make some recommendations here, but they all come from really this basis that I hope you saw my stuff yesterday. This is the foundation of it. U.S. Department of Commerce looked at this and said, of the 10 trillion, with a T, $10 trillion of commercial activity in the United States, what portion could have been done but was not done online? $3 trillion. Trillion. Could have been done but wasn't done online. And why? Not because businesses hadn't moved there. Look at the reasons why. Because there is this is their wording, there's a lack of consumer confidence, preventing that from happening, from that becoming real. And why has there been a lack of consumer confidence? They blame specifically online retailers do not address a buyer's lack of trust and confidence effectively. It's not the consumer's fault. We're not doing something. And I mean we, because we at Symantec and Norton, we make about 1/3 of our money on our e-commerce storefront. Okay? We're one of y'all. So we got to get on this, because I want me a piece of $3 trillion, and I suppose you do too. And those who get on it are probably going to get their fair share, if not more. So the concept I like to work with is if we all drop back into our time capsules and we go back 30 years, back to the 80s, and we have this idea that if there was a nation state that threatened the United States of America, overnight we would park one of these guys off their coast and let them feel and see and witness the projected power of the US. So this concept of projecting power, I'd like to twist slightly into the idea of projecting trust. That's something that you could go do that I promise you consumers respond to. I'll give you the data on that in a moment to found that. There's 3 main methods that we recommend. The first one is these trust seals that, of course, we're going to talk about. The circle check mark, everybody knows that, everybody's seen that. And there's not just ours in the world, there's plenty of others, and they all do different things. We're going to dive a lot deeper into this, but overwhelmingly, like to the tune of over 3/4 of users and consumers out there respect this. They expect to see one of these things, or one or more. Point 2, there's this thing that we call in the industry the extended validation certificate. It turns the address bar green, or elements of the address bar, in a desktop browser as well as a mobile browser. Okay? And there's some that happens inside a consumer's head when they see green. Green means go, green means money, green means save, green light, go, all that kind of stuff. There's some neat stuff that goes on inside the consumer's noggin that is the opposite of, oh my God, I am out of here. It's the opposite of that. They see this, and whether they know what it is or means, they respond. Look at the numbers. Online shoppers, half of them complete their transaction when they see this. They don't even know what it is, but they know it means something good. 60% of online shoppers feel an increased sense of security. 50% are ready to bail out because they don't. Okay, this is like Sherlock. Like, we got to do these kinds of things. Number 3, this is kind of something that's behind the scenes, but I promise you've seen it before, and that is site-wide encryption. Okay, this means that the whole user session, once you arrive, or once you leave, or once you log on, and up till you log off, is entirely encrypted. That means nobody but the consumer and the site they're visiting can see what's going on, period, on a very public internet. Nobody can see what's going on and break it to the tune of the NSA can't even break it. Okay? Cool stuff. And whether the consumer gets the technology or not, they respond. There's some cool things that happen to a business and to an e-commerce site and to a merchant when you implement these things. Look at the brands that are going and doing it. They wouldn't do it if this wasn't true. Google Search did it. Google Shopping did it. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the social media sites, all the free email sites, all your banks. Look at the big granddaddies of e-commerce sites out there, all doing this site-wide encryption. Okay? There's some cool stuff that happens, one of which is you get a higher Google search ranking. Okay? In our measurements, about 5% uplift. Dude, that's like a search marketer's dream, is to get a 5% uplift. Okay, there's that reason, but as HTTP2 is coming along, and we've got vendors out here who are talking about it, Lightspeed, for example, is talking about it, there's going to be some serious performance increases that come with HTTP2, especially within media and rich media content, all that kind of stuff. The only way those are triggered is if you have site-wide encryption. Okay, 3 main things you want to do. If there's a takeaway, baby cakes, this is it. Okay, these are recommendations. We're going to hit this top thing in a minute here when I want to add some dimensions to where we're going with this. If we look at the reasons and the components behind why are people freaked out about there, okay, aside from the breaches and all that kind of stuff and then named vulnerabilities, really comes in three flavors. Security, we're talking about merchants. Am I secure? Am I safe on this site? That 50% number. Another one that's about reliability. Can I trust this merchant? Do I even know who they are? They got a great price, but God, beats me who these people are. And of course, last but I already named it, price. Okay, there's some interesting things behind this. I'm not going to belabor the point on security, except to say what I mentioned before, the FTC and our former owners, VeriSign, corroborate that. Let's look at our competitors there, McAfee in the middle. That's almost 100% of users, let's get the words here, shoppers have concerns when shopping on new and unknown sites. Now we know what unknown means, but new doesn't have to mean poof, suddenly I've launched it. New means I just rebranded, I just added a new section, I just redesigned. In other words, every single site out there. When you make a change, consumers see that as brand new, and they fall into this 92% category of, whoa, something changed. Am I cool here? They want some warm fuzzies, and those things I mentioned before will certainly help. Okay. Last but not least on price. Consumers shop on price. 45% of consumers have said through BizRate, price is most important. Stack 2 things against each other. A small brand, unknown site, what do they have to compete with? Price. And if you can compete on price, well, you're answering that 45%, but now you're competing against that 92% of, but they don't know who I am. So some interesting dynamics here, and what I want to do is point out what the solutions are that are available. Going back to these trust seals, they're all over the board. Okay, some lessons here. First of all, you can't go and implement all these at once because your site's going to start looking like a vehicle in a NASCAR race, and you don't want that to happen because it's like everybody typing in all caps, like everybody's screaming so you don't listen anymore. All right, second lesson from here, notice in each one of these categories, there's not one solution that solves the next problem. Okay, even some of our stuff over there and some other brands, even within things, there's under security, there's privacy and malware and encryption, and one doesn't solve the whole thing. Moreover, another lesson, you got to be on certain platforms to get some of these. And if you're not, you don't get that protection for your site. So therefore, you can't project that flavor of trust. And then over in price, customer has price concerns, the price going to go down, so I got no protection at all. No uniform dimensions across the industry. If you slice this, however, into prevention and resolution, things get a little more dire. There's a lot of things out there to prevent stuff going wrong in the security realm, but to resolve it, nada. And both dimensions of price just got a lot more serious. Look at the resolution dimension and reliability. You got to be on a certain platform. If you're not, how are your consumers, people who pay in the bills, going to feel like they can resolve stuff with you? Okay, here we go. Product pitch alert. All right, just stay with me for a minute here. We're doing something about it. We're taking that sort of check mark that everybody knows, and we've got a solution that adds on to that. Okay, so we're talking about Norton Shopping Guarantee. We would love to talk with you back at the booth, how dimension adds to and resolves a lot of these dimensions. It's one uniform solution. Does not rule out others. There's no exclusivity thing here. But the idea here is to capture back some of those 50% that are bailing and ultimately get to that $3 trillion that we're all missing out on. We got to get a piece of that. Whether it's our solution or not that you implement, I believe there's a lot of money to be made, and that's what we're all here for. Last piece of content here, the moral of the story. Okay, this is also kind of no joke, Sherlock here, but ignoring this whole trust and confidence and security thing is at your own peril. The consumers have spoken. How much data do you need to know this is a real thing? We got to get on top of it. But those who do are going to make money off it. We see in our solution here that when people start doing this, they show this without even knowing the dimensions of this particular product. We see conversions go up to the tune of 7%. We see instant ROI. We see people coming back, return shoppers. You got to love that kind of stuff because that's ringing the cash register. And what's nice about that is because that's not just you projecting trust and showing a leadership position. Remember all the other brands that are doing it, Facebook, Google, what have you. But now that merchant, your storefront, is now doing something that your competitors may not be. And when your consumer, when your shopper arrives at your site, and thanks to Google, Google has told us when someone's shopping, they're on 4 sites at once. They're looking at the same product, similar offering on 4 sites at once. When they see there is one I can really trust and those aren't, those get those 50% of abandons and yours get the purchase. So it's a good idea to look into this. You're going to make some money. You're going to get conversions and differentiate. The key is to go and project trust. Okay? Park that aircraft carrier off the coast and let people know that yours is a legitimate business and you're ready to take their orders and capture that $3 trillion. I said trust differentiates and drives conversions. And come talk to us about our solution. We got a free 30-day trial. No commitment. You want to give it a whirl and see that this stuff really works, and we're not joking about this, come and do so. There's contact information. We would love to have it. Cool, I'm at the end of the time. I appreciate it.